the older you get, and it seems like every single year I seem to understand this more and more, is living with no regrets,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is so important because a lot of people just go by their daily routine and they don't really understand what is truly important when it comes to family, when it comes to self time, when it comes to building memories with your kids, building memories with your spouse or your partner, because there is going to be a time when that's gone.
Mm,
Things change in seconds, and
yeah.
if you really don't understand how to live and understand your non-negotiables and understand how to live with no regrets, because there will be a time when something will occur in your life where you will have regrets
Right.
no matter what.
Yep.
But at the least, if you know in your head you have done everything you possibly can to avoid that, when the time comes, it gives you more of an ease.
Hey guys, this episode is sponsored by Tranquil Turtle Massage. Tracy over there, the founder, she's a small town girl from Montana, loves God, loves her family, loves her friends, loves working out, fishing, and camping. She has a passion for helping those in need and enjoys being creative with woodworking, crocheting, healthy baking, pottery, and cooking. Look, she began her massage journey back in 2010, where she graduated from massage school up in Anchorage, Alaska. She specializes in her signature massages, the Hanu infusion and the Hanu ashiatsu, as well as the gua sha and manual lymphatic drainage. If you're looking for a massage specialist and someone who can get you feeling good, go see Tracy down at Tranquil Turtle Massage. And while you're there, check out CDA Microblading, offering Coeur d'Alene's best tattoo brows, plasma fibroblast, tightening, and PMU services right there in the heart of downtown Coeur d'Alene. Make sure you book your appointment at pnwmobilemassage.com. Jeff, you're a husband, you're a father, the owner and founder of Kimurawear, TrueBlue Homes, best-selling author, podcast host, man, coach, entrepreneur, and so much more. Thank you for your time, man. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me on today, Eric. This is going to be a fun conversation. We've had some good reports since we've kind of met, and from the past, but now even more now.
Yeah, for sure. I love to go back with my guests and kind of start off from the beginning there. Where did you grow up? What was childhood like for you?
I had a great childhood, man. We had not a ton for means. Factory worker father, mom hustled, and it was a situation where we didn't have a lot financially, but we
Mm,
always felt like we had a lot because my parents provided us with so much love and attention.
I love that.
And that just filled us up where we never felt like we missed anything. So I had a great childhood. I'm a 70s baby, but I mean, growing up in the 80s, it was playing outdoors all day. You'd get home, you'd literally have a peanut butter sandwich, and you're out till as dark as you can, till your mom's on the back porch hollering your name to try to find out where you were, and you'd hear her come running home. So it
Yeah,
was just a great, fun childhood, and grew up in Toronto, Canada, and yeah, I lived my whole life here, and it's just nothing but great memories as a kid.
man, that's awesome, dude. And I mean, you started Kimurawear in your basement, and now it's obviously taken to this massive level. But who was that entrepreneurial influence in your life that kind of pointed you in that direction to be an entrepreneur?
That's a question I've been really focusing on the last couple of years, and is a situation where when I actually sit back and think of the whole question, are you born an entrepreneur? Are you not born an entrepreneur? This is a question I think
It's
we've
true.
talked about in the past.
Yeah.
I think I've always had the hustle. I mean, as a 11, 12-year old, my dad would drop me off at a sports car convention. I would sell and hustle sports cards just to make $100 and have this spending money for the week.
Come
I've
on.
always had that hustle, that drive. When I was 17, I started my first company and hired 6 of my buddies from high school. So I've always had that hustle, that drive to be an entrepreneur. Was that in me as a natural, or was that something where I really toned and focused on my upbringing and looked at my parents struggle financially, and maybe like, was that like almost an internal trigger that say, hey, I want to do it on my own, I want to be able to have more? So there's different ways to look at it, but it was something I've always had in me. I've always wanted to do my own thing and work on my own, and just hustle, and
Yeah.
and it just started, and for really 19 years of age on, I've really never worked for no one ever since, and I'm 44 now.
Come on, man. Oh, that's amazing, dude. So good, dude. Yeah, I'm turning 42 in just a couple weeks, man. So yeah,
Yeah.
I was 70s babies as well, just barely. I was December
Yeah.
11th of 79, man.
So right at the cusp there. I
For
love it.
sure.
I love it.
Well, I'm really big on morning routines, and you have this awesome, actually, a couple free downloads on your website: the 7 to-dos to start like a champ and 5 to-dos to finish like a champ. What are the most important evening routine, or what is that morning most important evening routine, and what is the most important morning routine people should be following?
I mean, evening routine, I would say prep for the next day. I think a
Yes.
lot of people don't prep for the next day or don't prep for the next morning, and then they get clustered and frustrated when they see all the emails pouring and all that stuff. So I think prepping for the next day is I start my do list the night before. And
Yeah.
I'm a strong believer in, as my mind starts thinking of things to do throughout the week or throughout the day, the next day, I'll actually in the evening email myself. So when I wake up in the morning, I got a cluster fuck of emails piled up on my box, but then
Yeah.
I pull out the pen and paper and I do my do list for the day. So I really try to prep for the day the night before,
Yep.
and then really learn how to just shut it off the last hour, hour and a half,
Mm.
and just literally wind down. Let your body just wind down and just intake whatever the day was. And that allows you to just almost intake it, let it out, whatever the good, the bad, and then start the next day fresh with a list of what to do. So that I think the nighttime routine is probably even more important than the morning routine. And then the
Yeah.
morning routine is just getting off on the right step, right? When I mean getting off the right step is a lot of people start their day and they just so messed up and flustered with everything they got to do. I prep the night before, so when I wake up the next day, it's just my simple routine. Let the dog out, take my vitamins, grab my black coffee, stretch for 5-10 minutes, let the blood flow, start the day. And it's something where I wake up early enough that I prep myself and I give enough time not to be cluster messed in the morning, because a lot of people, they don't give their time enough in the morning. So I'm up at usually 4:30 every day, and I keep that routine even on the weekends. I'm up no later than 6 a.m. on Saturdays and Sundays, and it
Yeah.
allows me from 4:30 till even to now 4:30 till 9 a.m., which is 9 a.m. here when we're starting this podcast in Toronto, Canada time. I've literally probably done more work than most people have done all day. And that allows me
Yeah.
to now have the freedom to do the podcast, the freedom to just pick up my kids, do the 3 to 7, which I call it my 3 to 7 home routine, which I try to be home every day from 3 to 7 with my kids. So it allows me to do all these things because I get so much done in the early morning, and it frees up the rest of the day for myself.
So good. I'm big on that too, man. Like before I go to bed, before I leave the office for for the evening, I'm writing down on a post-it my to-do list first thing that I hit up
Yeah.
in the morning, right? So I know exactly what I'm getting into. And I kind of learned that from Craig Ballantyne, another Canadian guy that I follow. He wrote the book Perfect Day Formula and Perfect Week Formula. He talks about that, morning
Yeah.
routine really starts that evening before you go to bed, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Very important.
You're a dad of two awesome kids. You're an entrepreneur. I think as men, we tend to, struggle with how to balance that family life, how to provide for our family and find our passion. Like, how did becoming a dad change your mindset on life and business? And then how do you balance it all, man?
I mean, there's different scenarios. I mean, with my firstborn, I was still that heavy entrepreneur. I was still working crazy hours. I was
Yeah.
still never really home. And then with my son, when he was born, life changed. A quick little intro to the story
Yeah.
is he spent the first 4 months of his life at Sick Kids Hospital, and that really put everything in perspective. And not to get into too much detail with that, but by the time we finally got him out at 4 months old, he was still 4.5 pounds. He was fit in the palm of my hand. He was still on feeding tubes. It was a situation where I was put in a situation where I was forced to make a decision what was more important. And I
Yeah.
realized very quickly my non-negotiables had to be locked into my schedule every day to make sure I had the time to help my son, to make sure I had the time to help my wife, to make sure I had time to spend with my daughter. So I started understanding non-negotiables literally 13 years ago, 12 and a half years ago. And I really started looking at my schedule and figuring out what parts of my schedule was going to be non-negotiable. And I locked those in, and I locked those in every single month. And those are locked in. They alter. I mean, things happen during the day,
Sure.
but I try to keep them as close as possible to being my non-negotiable, so that my 3 to 7 with my family. So that's the time I train with my kids. I help my son. I spend time with the family. That is non-negotiable. Morning routines, non-negotiable. Evening routines, non-negotiable. And then we
Yeah.
fit everything else inside. So really understanding what is important in your schedule, and then understanding, and the older you get, and it seems like every single year I seem to understand this more and more, is living with no regrets,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is so important, because a lot of people just go by their daily routine and they don't really understand what is truly important when it comes to family, when it comes to self time, when it comes to building memories with your kids, building memories with your spouse or your partner, because there is going to be a time when that's gone.
Mm.
Things change in seconds, and
Yeah.
if you really don't understand how to live and understand your non-negotiables and understand how to live with no regrets, because there will be a time when something will occur in your life where you will have regrets,
Right.
no matter what.
Yep.
But at the least, if you know in your head you have done everything you possibly can to avoid that, when the time comes, it gives you more of an ease and understanding of the situation. So really, really understanding your schedule. There's a lot of people, you hear Gary Vee and incredible entrepreneurs talk about there's no home life balance.
Yeah.
That's all bullshit. That's all
Yeah.
bullshit.
Totally.
You could have a home life balance. It's just really understanding how to hone your schedule, how to study your schedule, how to lock your non-negotiables in your schedule, and how to follow your schedule.
Mm. Yeah.
And when I'm talking about follow your schedule, if you have something blocked for an hour, when that hour comes, it's done. It's done. If you're not completed that schedule or that task, that moves on to the next day. That's okay. And
Yeah.
be understanding that is okay. And
Right.
a lot of people really focus on one thing, and then all of a sudden 1 hour, 2 hours pass, their whole day shot. It's just this really, really, they start getting this almost like this domino effect, and just gets worse and worse and worse instead of getting more and more positive. So really focusing and sticking to what you plan is so important as well when it comes to scheduling.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, your son, like you guys didn't even think that he was going to be able to walk, right? Like, and then he
Yeah.
had braces on his feet till he was 12, but they're off now, right? And
Yeah.
I think you
Yeah.
had set a challenge that he was going to run a marathon. Why, by the time he's 13, like, how is he doing now, man? He sounds like, I mean, obviously just a warrior to be continuing to do what he's doing now, man.
Yeah. The kid's a lot of people, like I'm the ultimate hustler, right? And a lot of people say he was meant to be my son because I'm able to push him harder than anybody could. But
Yeah.
I look at him every single day, and it's like I am so grateful he's my son because he's made me a better man, a
Mm.
stronger man, more mentally, physically strong. And it's a situation where he doesn't understand the word no. It's just crazy. Even at 5, 6 years old, when I would put a task in front of him, when we put a board on his wall in his bedroom, say, okay, we're going to learn how to hop on 1 foot, which was a huge accomplishment. That took
Yeah.
3 months,
Wow.
2 to 3 hours a day for 3 months to be able to hop on 1 foot. And he did it every single day till he did hop. And then there was a massive celebration. And it was just this constant goal setting that we set together, and he will not quit till he gets it. I mean, if you watch my highlights, and this kid's jumping, standstill jumping like 4.5 feet off the ground now. This is a
Wow.
kid that doctors looked at me and said he'll be confined to a wheelchair his whole life. And we got to braces, he'll be wearing braces till he's 19, 20. And when I looked at every doctor, and I looked at my son, I go, by 12, you're going to be out of your braces. Before your 13th birthday, we're going to run a marathon. And we set these goals, and we put these, I wouldn't call them vision boards, but we put these goal setting, like we'd write them on paper and stick them all over his walls in his bedroom.
Yeah.
And by his 12th birthday, he was out of his braces. Before he turned 13, which is April 19th. So April 18th of 2021, we ran our first marathon together.
Come
And it's just
on,
been
man.
it's been this incredible journey, because it's so inspiring watching how determined he is. Whatever he sets his mind to, he might take 3, 4, 5 months longer than most kids, but he won't
Mm.
stop till he gets there.
Yeah.
And he will not give up, and he'll just keep going, keep going, keep going. He'll swear, he'll curse, he'll get frustrated, but he won't stop. He'll wait the next day and start again.
Yeah.
And it's just that you can't teach that hustle. You can't teach that drive.
Totally. Man,
And
that's so awesome.
it is so inspiring, right? It's just like I always say, man, he's here for a reason, man. He's gonna inspire millions of people one day with
Yeah.
his story. And it just puts a smile on my face. And the best part of this all, Eric, is he is the sweetest, kindest little soul.
Mm.
This kid is, I call him my puppy, man. I get home, and him and my dog are pushing each other away, trying to get to the front door first. And he will not go to bed without giving me a hug and a kiss. He won't wake up in the morning. First thing he's got to do is come to bed and give you a hug and a kiss. He's just this affectionate, sweet heart. And I get goosebumps, man. He's my little joy, man. And I wake up every day, and it's like, I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud. I'm so proud of my daughter, right? Even my daughter. My daughter's 15, and I mean, high performance dance. She's a rock star. She's a straight A student, honor roll. Like, both my kids are just they make me proud every day to be a dad. And I'm doing something right. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing something right. And I think when it comes to being a parent, it's just really understanding that. I even call it the yes factor. And you hear some people say that it's like, anytime my kids ask to do something when it comes to time spending with them, I say yes.
Yes.
And I've done that since day one. And I think they understand that they know their dad is always here for them. They know their dad always has their back. They know their dad always has the answer, or will try to find the answer.
Right.
And because of that, it allows them to just be great kids. And it's been such a fun ride watching them. And they both have such a bright future, which is pretty amazing. That's all as a parent you could hope for, right?
Yeah. Oh man, my kids are 11 and 8, and the same sort of thing. Just to see them grow and struggles and go through that and kind of build their confidence up and hit those failures, but then get through that. Man, it's so good. And I'm big on family time too. And I think it was a few years back where I worked for somebody and they made me go on a business trip, and I missed 2 of my son's baseball games. I always said I would never miss a baseball game. And man, they hit home so hard for me. And I was like, I will never do this again, ever.
Yeah.
And, any employer, anytime that I had to work, I always said, you know what, here's my son's baseball schedule, or here's my kid's school schedule, my daughter's schedule. I'll work around it. I'm not working around, through this stuff, man. It's so important.
Yeah. And as an entrepreneur, you have that freedom, right? And that's the whole entrepreneurial dream, is to be able to make your schedule and do what you want when you want. So,
right.
I mean, I'm living that, and it's a great feeling waking up every day and being able to control your own schedule like that.
Yeah. Now you've authored not 1 but 2 books. Strawberry Mountain: A Lesson of Gratitude and Entrepreneur, and then Entrepreneur Dad: 7 Keys to Successful Business and the Happy Life. With Strawberry Mountain, this sounds like an amazing book, by the way. What's this book about? It? And obviously you're with your son going to sick kids, like you guys give a portion to that, but what is this book about? It sounds awesome. And obviously your kids are the stars of the book there.
It's not, it's actually my dad.
Oh, your dad. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. It's their grandfather. So my dad passed away going on to 6.5 months ago.
Oh man, I'm so sorry.
And he was hands down my best friend. I was the 44-year-old that talked to my dad on the phone 2-3 times a day. I would call him every night to say goodnight. We'd have a conversation every single night. And he was 76, never smoked, never drank, power walked every day. And I talked to him on May 6th to 10:30 at night, had a normal conversation. And I got a call 6 in the morning on May 7th, Friday, that he passed away in front of my mom, had a heart attack and didn't get up. And it's one of those things, Erik, where you talk about living without regrets. I lived without regrets. Like I spent time with my parents, my dad. My dad was always around my kids, but you still have regrets.
Yeah.
You still have so many regrets. And I preach this to people. I preach this all the time. Like, pick up the phone, call a loved one, call a friend. Like, you don't know what the hell tomorrow brings. And when I lost him, I mean, I'm still, I mean, I still go. The first 70 days, I went every single day to the cemetery, and I still go 2-3 times a week. And it's still a very hard loss. Like I still can't get over it, which is crazy. 7 months later, I still can't get over it. And when he passed 6 days later, I said I needed to keep something to keep his memory going. And I took pen to paper and I wrote 6 children's books within like a 6-day period.
Come on.
And that was the first. The second one's actually going to be released in a couple weeks.
Okay.
And it's actually called Grandpa Joe's Adventures.
Yes. Yeah.
And,
okay.
And they're based on my dad and my 2 kids, and the images look like them. And if you actually open the book, there is first page says, "In loving memory of Grandpa Joe, tender and kind. What a beautiful memory you left behind." And they're all based on lessons he would always talk to my kids about. And the first was on gratitude, but there's gonna be a series of them coming out. I'm gonna try to release them every 10 to 12 weeks, one book.
Okay.
And that was where they're all based around. And it was just more to keep my dad's memory going. And I thought it would be a wonderful thing to work with say kids as well. So it's a win-win. But that's where it came from. That I had no interest in writing children's books. I never thought I would. But it just came to me. Like I said, I was sitting down at home. It was a Sunday night. I was looking at my wife, and I needed to have something to keep my dad's memory. And I literally that night took pen to paper, grabbed the notebook and pen, and I started trying to rhyme. And I learned how to rhyme pretty quickly, and I wrote the 6 books within like a 6-7 day period.
Okay, man, what a blessing that you're able to do that though, and keep those kind of that story going. And I think my condolences. Your dad just seems like an amazing person. I don't have that close relationship with my dad, but man, to be able to talk to your dad every day and say goodnight, man, what a cool thing that was.
Yeah, it's pretty special. And like I said, I in my head, you always thought you had more time, and you
Right.
always wish you had more time.
Yeah.
And we didn't. But I was very blessed that I was very close to my dad. I was very lucky to have the relationship we had together, and I had him for 44 years of my life, right?
Yeah.
Some people are never that lucky. So I was very lucky in that side, and I try to take the positive out of it, but
Right.
it's hard, man. It's hard when you have somebody so close that you're used to talking every day and you can't pick up the phone anymore. I think that's the hardest thing, being able to pick up the phone and just hear his voice.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and like I said, I tried to live with no regrets, and you still have regrets. You still have. I sit back and I think of, oh, maybe I should have went that time when he asked me to come for a coffee, or maybe I should have done this, or and it really hits home when he's not here. He didn't die of COVID, but it was COVID that caused this whole scenario, because
Gotcha.
the last year and a half, his doctor visits were over the phone. Calls doc would be like, hey, how you doing? I'd be like, my dad would be like, oh, I'm okay, a little tired. Oh, you're getting old, don't worry about it. And now that I sit back and look at it, there was signs of shit happening, but no one really picked up on it. His stomach was a little bloated. I had to joke with him the last couple of months, like, why your stomach so bloated? Why do you look like you're trying to get a belly? He's like, it's winter, don't worry, in summer I'll lose it. And then he would lately be like, oh, I'm really tired. I'm like, he's so active. And I'm like, he's 76, he's just getting older.
Yeah.
And what was really happening was his pump to his heart was slowing down, and is causing him to increase sodium, and he was retaining water. And if he had done an ECG or just gone to the doctor on a regular basis, which it would have happened if we didn't have this pandemic,
Sure.
this would have been caught, a little surgery, and he would have still been around. And
Right.
that just pisses me off so much when I think of why he's not here, because this could have been avoided, right? So
Yeah.
it's hard, man. It's hard, Eric. And it's, I don't, and I, a lot of people say like time heals wounds or time heals pain. That's all bullshit, man. When you truly care about somebody or love somebody and they're gone,
Yeah.
nothing heals it. I mean, you start numbing out over time, life gets in the way, life gets busy, but that loss is always going to be there.
Yeah. My wife and I had the same conversation. She had a grandparent who passed away over the last year during kind of COVID at times as well. And it was like, we couldn't get to see her. We had to do the FaceTime thing. And, we're just thinking like, man, if we're sick, like we can't even go to the doctor anymore, because they all of a sudden feel like we all have COVID and we're going to spread stuff even for just normal things. Right. And you can't even get to the doctor to get checked in, man. It's so crazy. But one of the cool things that you do is you have this coaching program, or a few coaching programs. And the first question that you ask is, what's your goal and what's your problem? Which I love that. But the second question I think is more interesting is, what has stopped you from reaching that goal or solving that problem? When you ask that question, what is that common answer that you hear from men and women?
I think the common is just excuses, where a lot of people allow their self-doubt or their fear control their outcome. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of times their excuses or their reasonings for not accomplishing or going after a goal are made in their own mind. Their fear of failure, their fear of rejection from their friends, their family, their fear of how people will perceive their goals or their thoughts. And once you stop giving a shit what other people think of you, when you stop giving a shit what other people's thoughts are going to be, and you start focusing on what truly means to you and what you really want to do, or what you really care, I think that just opens up the door. So I think the first thing is really toning in and focusing on, it's all about me. This time's about me. And if I could fill my cup out, almost the Oprah thing, fill your cup up to the max, you're going to be able to, that over trickle is what's going to fill everybody else's cup. So you got to keep filling up your cup. And a lot of people live every single day trying to fill everybody else's cup to make everybody else happy, thinking they're going to have that perception of everybody else is happy, I'm going to be happy. And it's not. If you're not happy with yourself, if you're not content with what you're doing, if you're not waking up every single day and understanding that this is what I'm meant to do, or this is what I'm happy doing, life's a pretty shit. So you got to really start toning in and focusing on yourself first, doing what you want to do, waking up every single day and doing what puts a smile on your face, what your passions are. And once you can really start focusing on that and really not giving a shit about everybody else's thought process, and when I even a little story here, crazy little story.
Yeah.
When I started Kimurawear, like I even before Kimurawear, I had 5-6 other companies I built up and sold or got exited, and some that I failed. And when I started Kimurawear, I remember it was I launched Kimurawear January 2006. 2005 fall, probably September, I had my first samples and stuff like that. I was launching the company already, but I hadn't officially launched it.
Mhm.
So I was going through samples, shorts, products, and I had a barbecue over our house, and we had all these friends and family over. And I had all these shorts and stuff. And I said, "Hey guys, look, this is a new company I'm gonna start." And I remember everybody looking at me like this is not gonna work. And I remember one particular person looked at me and said, "Yeah, this is gonna be 100% fail." And stuff like that. If I were to listen to that, I would have put that stuff away and moved on to something else. But that just added fuel. I'm like, okay, now I really have to prove these assholes wrong.
Right.
And it's just that mindset where I have in my mind like that unstoppable, like no excuses, cut the bullshit. I'm gonna really prove everybody wrong. A lot of people don't have that. A lot of people have that fear of, oh my God, what is Erik going to say about this? Is Erik not going to approve? You can't live like that. The minute you can really focus on yourself, fill your cup up first, take care of yourself first, do what you want to do first, everything else comes together at that point.
Oh man, that's so true. And I think once I realized that, number one, my past, but then other people's opinions do not define my future, man. And
Oh, 100%.
once I got that in my head, I was like, oh man, now it's about me. Like I'm going to get this going. And I think gratitude is a big thing for me. Like I wake up and immediately open my eyes and go, man, thank you, Lord, for another day. Right.
Yeah.
Like, and then it's like, make the bed. Right. And then I go into the morning routine there. The quick question, what are you most excited about for 2022, man? Because this has been kind of an interesting year with COVID in 2020 to 2021. But I think for me, 2022 is going to be a massive year. And I believe it is for you as well. But, with all these books coming out and children's books, like what are you most excited about though, man?
There's so many projects, right? I'm constantly trying to do a new project all the time. When I see an opportunity, I jump on it.
Yeah.
We're doing a whole bunch of projects right now. Some for myself. We're building out a beach house, and I'm trying to record everything possible through the whole renovations, which I'm trying to do about 70-80% of the renovations myself. So as we're recording it, we're gonna launch in summer a 7 or 8 part series of Jeff's Beach House renos through YouTube channel. I'm really gonna hone on and really focus on building out our YouTube channels and platform over the next 12 months, and just really see where the podcast takes us. I mean, I'm having so much fun talking to high level entrepreneurs or just successful celebrities or entrepreneurs, and it's just a fun venture where when I started the whole podcast, I didn't know where it was going to go.
Yeah.
And I'm having so much fun with it, so I'm excited to see where that goes. And just in general, just living with a purpose, right? Every single day, whether it's Kimurawear or whether it's TrueBlue Homes. I'm really big into the real estate investment, and we're up to 10 properties, and the goal is to have one more every single year. And there's so much positive things happening right now. So just living to the max, and really enjoying time with my family and friends. Right. And I think that's a huge part of it as well through the whole process. I really, as I get older, I really enjoy the time. Yesterday, it was me, the kids, and a wife were just sitting on the couch. It was about 7:30 at night. I finished all my work for the day, and we're just sitting there watching a movie. And I sat there for a bit, and I just looked around, and the dog was on the couch too. We're all just snuggled up, a fireplace on, and it's like, hey, this is good. This is good. This is the way it should be.
Yeah.
And really understanding that and being able to intake that and really appreciate that is so important.
Yep, man. Absolutely. Yeah, it's so important for that, man. And your podcast, by the way, is amazing. You have awesome guests on there. And, I've been subscribed and listened to it for a long time. People need to be checking out the show because you are bringing on amazing people on that show, man. So thank you for what you do. Jeff, it's such an honor to have you on my show, man. Truly, you are a world changer, man. I love that your son is an absolute warrior. Love that you've got this awesome family and you're continuing to just fight for them. And you have those non-negotiables, which are so important, man. Thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. It's been a pleasure having me on, and excited to continue our future together, because I think there's a lot of things we'll be doing together in the future.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Thank you again, man. Thank you so much for checking out the show today. I wanted to just take one quick second of your time to point you to erikallenmedia.com. I have a ton of free and paid content on our resources tab. Click on that. Tons of books, tons of websites you can go check out. Some secret websites in there as well for you. But listen, I am available for hire for anything from product videos to content videos, review videos. I do a lot of how-to and explainer type videos, box opening videos for brands. I also do laser engraving for anything that's wood product. So if you need some, coasters made or fun tags or something like that, shoot me a DM. Happy to help you out. You can check out some of my work on our YouTube channel there. Really appreciate you checking out the show today. Thank you so much for your time. Have an amazing day.